Hello there. Just give me a minute, please, okay? I'll be right with you in a minute. All righty. Give me a minute here. I'm going to tell you this one. Just 1 minute here. I'm not ignoring you. There. All right. Hey, Gashi, how you doing? I'm sorry about that, Gashi. I was doing a few things. Just give me a minute here. I'll join you in a minute, okay? Join you in a minute. Just give me a minute here. A few things I want to share with you tonight. 1 minute here. 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bingo. All right. Now you see tonight, I want to talk about Syria and troops at the border. Now, in case you haven't heard, I'm pretty sure you have, that there's a gas attack in Syria. Okay. Now, Assad denied responsibility of the attack, but I guess other people think otherwise. President Trump criticized Putin and Obama for this, which I have to agree with President Trump. The many things I agree with him on is that if President Obama enforced the red line in the sand with Syria a long time ago, we may not be in this position in the first damn place. We may have not if Obama just did his job and took care of Assad back then. But he decided let Russia take care of it, But I would say this, what I'm afraid what might happen, is President Trump's in Washington right now, surrounded by the deep state, and I think, in my opinion, there's a lot of people in the deep state in Washington wants to go to war with Syria. And this, they can be justify us going to war with Syria. Now, if you're like me, you probably don't really want to war with Syria. And is it really justified going to war with Syria? And technically, is this our problem? You got to ask yourself that as well. And I read an article, a little bit of it, said President Trump, I guess, doing missile strikes in Syria. I would say to President Trump, if you're watching this video, just be careful with your move on this, okay? And be careful with the teeth and the threat, because you make threats, you have to back them up, basically, which he's doing. So he has to back this up. If you want to do a little strike on Syria to teach us all a lesson, that's fine, But I would say this, I don't think we should do a full-scale invasion of Syria over this. This is what my take on that. And last, let's see, I was going to do something else. Trump criticized Putin and everything else on Syria. If Obama took care of this back then, we had the chance, we might be in this problem today. And, I just hope, came to me. My apologies. Now, here's the thing that was a ticker. Now, a lot of people asked on social media. This a few days ago, Trump made an announcement he's going to pull troops out of Syria. And was all excited about the fact, he finally was getting troops out of Syria, Was happy, was glad it was happening. Then all of a sudden, boom, this happened, a chemical attack. in a town in Syria. Just as President Trump was about ready to pull troops out of Syria, we had a gas attack in Syria, which unfortunately thinks that the President of the United States, Trump, whoever, has to respond to this, has to respond to this. All I gotta say is this, it sounds kind of fishy. Why would Assad do a gas attack right after the President of the United States made a statement he's going to withdraw troops out of Syria? You think that's the last thing he wants to do or happen in his country as the U.S. is getting ready to pull out. But, Assad, I don't know much about it. People blaming Assad for this. Assad's denying this, He's not denying the chemical tax. He's denying responsibility of the chemical tax. I guess time will tell who's responsible for the chemical tax in Syria. I am not justifying it. I don't think there's a reason to go to war with Syria over this, by all means, and maybe we should just stay the hell out of it. If Trump wants to do a missile strike on Syria, so be he can do a missile strike. But let's let it be a missile strike. Let's get the troops out of there and concentrate on something else besides Syria, okay? Because I much hate to say it, but Syria is not our problem. Point blank and simple. All right, enough about Syria, though. I want to talk about troops at the border. And I got to read this interesting article on Breitbart, and I want to share with you guys, okay? Here's the title. Military troops don't belong at the border. ACLU claims. Oh, really? And what's the whole purpose of having the military, having the Army, the Marines, the Navy, the Coast Guard, the Air Force? Oh, yeah. The whole purpose of having a military is securing our borders. That's the whole purpose of having a military. But let's move on. Military troops don't belong at the border. Director of the ACLU Border Rights Center, Director Astrid Dominguez said. And the statement was that deploying the military in U.S. communities is a dangerous move contrary to the fundamental norms of a civil society. The ACLU statement did not mention that the administration of President Barack Obama sent the National Guard to the border in 2014 and again in 2015. Oh, nor does it mention that President George W. Bush sent 6,000 significantly more guardsmen than roughly 3,000 Trump announced. The AU statement has echoed by liberal politicians like Representative Ruben Gagia, a Democrat from Arizona, who called having troops at the border Orwellian, and Oregon. Here's the kicker. Oregon Governor Kate Brown, who claimed she would refuse to send her state's guardsmen to the border if Trump asked. Trump issued a proclamation asking governors to order their National Guard troops to participate rather than a federation order, meaning governors are within their rights not to do so. CNN took a different track Friday, claiming that not that having U.S. troops on the border will be any Orwellian move contrary to the fundamental norms of a civil society, but that the troops may not have much to do. The same report described the spread cavern of more than 1,000 Central American immigrants intended to enter the United States without permission, an annual event to draw attention to the plight of migrants. Now, I will say this, okay? Governor Kate Brown of Oregon. This is what I say about her. Now, she's the governor of Oregon. Part of her job, I say, as any elected official, especially your damn governor, is to make sure laws get enforced. I said in the past video. But also to work with the federal government. And if the U.S., the federal government, requesting states to send troops to the border or anywhere and stuff like that, 9 times out of 10, what they should do is comply. with the president's directive of sending troops at the border. Like me, I don't much care for Obama. Anybody who knows me knows that. But if I was, say, the governor of Indiana, and I got a phone call from President Obama requesting me to send troops to the border because we need help, I would send troops to the border out of respect. Then again, the libtard like Governor Kate Brown doesn't understand respect and doesn't understand about the importance of securing our borders like ACLU does and anybody else does, And technically what President Trump's doing is perfectly legal. What's the whole purpose of having a military? It's securing our borders. That's why we have a military. The libtards are just too stupid to realize that, They are. We have a military to secure our borders. You may like it or not. That is the whole fundamental of having a military. So going to ACLU, going around saying that the U.S. military has no business at the border, which in fact it does, because that's the whole purpose of having the military in the first damn place. And, when you have over like 1,000 immigrants making a pilgrimage to Mexico, threatening to enter the United States illegally, what else can you do? Now, one of the Mexican diplomats went on CNN where I read, and I give you a brief description of that. He's saying, the Mexican government don't like this. They want to know the authority what the troops would have and everything else. He also says that Mexico, too, wants a secure border along with the United States. Okay. But they say they will not pay for the wall because the Mexico is totally against this wall being built. And there's a lot of reasons because it doesn't benefit them. But it benefits America because it secures our borders, That's one of the whole fundamentals and the platform that Trump ran on 2016 about securing the U.S. borders. And send the military down there, have the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to build a wall is probably the best move he could make because problem is, Trump's in Washington right now. He's basically surrounded by the enemy there, the deep state. There is a secret society in the FBI who's trying to take him out. I wholeheartedly believe that. And, when you're in Washington, D.C., surrounded by the enemy, who a bunch of people who hate your fucking guts, that rather see you fucking dead than anything else, it kind of makes it harder for you. But Trump is doing it. I have a lot of respect for this man, what he is doing, and what he is doing in Washington. Highly respect that man for doing what he does. Because, I do. I do. Well, before I shut this out. Now, I don't know how many of you are Ted Nugent fans. Okay, I like Ted Nugent. I do admire his music, okay? Stranglehold, Cat Scratch Fever, and a few others. His days with the damn Yankees and shit. Awesome, He's an awesome musician, awesome guitar player, and an okay singer, But I will say this, too, as far as his political voice is concerned, has little more to desire. Yes, I respect his stance on gun rights. I really do. I respect his stance on hunting rights. I really do. But, in my opinion, but going to make a statement that we should shoot all Democrats like wolves is not really a good statement to make. No, I don't like Democrats. Anybody that knows me, I call them libtards for a reason. But we shouldn't lower ourselves to their standard. You understand what I'm saying? That's why I'm criticizing Ted Nugent because he makes us look bad with these statements. I mean, it's bad enough we have libtards making hateful statements, especially that CBS producer reporter saying, "Oh, I'm not too worried about those victims at Las Vegas because most of them were white Christian conservatives," some shit like that, Of course, libtard media didn't pay it no mind, but it was in reverse. You know how they act, you know how they are. So if Ted Nugent watched this video, I'd like to get the word out to him. Maybe he needs to be a little more careful of what he says. And my take on this, going on TV, going anywhere and saying that we should shoot Dems like wolves is probably not a good idea, because you make all of us look bad when you make those statements. And let me tell you something. If you're getting a little mad at me for criticizing Ted Nugent, just call it tough love, okay? If I don't like you, I wouldn't be criticizing you. So I'm doing it out of love, not out of hate. Well, give me 1, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bingo. God bless you and have a good day, and bye-bye.